4,000 is what you have listed, concubines.
Correct. Yeah, both father and son together. Yeah.
4,000 women inside the harem?
Across, no, they were divided across Mysore.
Different.
Yeah, every time they go to Chitradurga, Bangalore, Srirangapattam.
So, a harem in each port.
In each port. Give him this tongue lash, he would come back, so scared, Haider, running out of his wife's chamber. And his male buddies would catch him and then they would all go and drink. And in his drunken revelry, he would say, it's so much easier to face the British sword than my wife's tongue. And so I think this lady was quite a strong, gritty woman. The Battle of Chinkurli against the Marathas. In the middle of the battle, this guy says something intemperate, Tipu, and the father snatches a cane from someone and whacks him on his posterior, so hard. And Tipu is in front of everyone.
There is one part where he says that if she had not been as acerbic, he would have probably not been what he was. Right? I mean,
he would go trembling apparently to her chambers and she would whiplash and tongue lash him with her.
Tipu knew that this is what his mother was all about.
Yeah, and he was also completely under her, control. Even she decided whom he was to marry. The girl she chose, Haider had another choice, but the mother prevailed, and so the first wife was someone that the mother chose.
Yeah, but he had a zillion wives and concubines.
He married both.
4,000 is what you have listed, concubines.
Correct. Yeah, both father and son together. Yeah.
4,000 women inside the harem?
Across, no, they were divided across Mysore.
Different.
Yeah, every time they go to Chitradurga, Bangalore, Srirangapattam.
So, a harem in each port?
In each port, yeah.
Yeah, sounds ghastly. Okay.
So when he would go and she would give him this tongue lash, he would come back, so scared, Haider, running out of his wife's chamber. And his male buddies would catch him and then they would all go and drink. And in his drunken revelry, he would say, it's so much easier to face the British sword than my wife's tongue. And so I think this lady was quite a strong, gritty woman who even controlled the husband, who gave shivers to the East India Company, and also her son, whom she tried to, give sane advice, which he never took.
He didn't. Yeah. In fact, when he gets the kingdom, this emotional letter that you have listed in the form of a will that Haider had left for his son. I'm going to read out some while you can have your idli or coffee. It says, it's kind of heart-tugging actually, Yeah. My son, I leave you an empire which I have not received from my ancestors. A scepter acquired by violence is always fragile. Meanwhile, you will not find any obstacles in your family. You have no rivals among the chiefs of the army. I do not leave you any enemies among my subjects. He goes on to write more and then says, now this is strange. India, since the death of Aurangzeb, has lost her rank among the empires of Asia. This fair land is parcelled out into provinces which make war, one against the other, and the people divided into multitude of sects have lost their love of the country. The Hindus, mollified by their pacific maxims, if you please, this is not Shashi Tharoor writing, are little able to defend their country, which has become the prey of strangers. The Musalmans are more united and more enterprising than the feeble Hindus. It is to them that should belong the glory of saving Hindustan. So takes it upon himself and bequeaths to his son the responsibility of the Muslims to protect and preserve India as it was. Because the Hindus are too feeble.
Correct. But the authenticity of that letter itself.
Which you say this, that why is this letter suspect, is that the British records talk about Haider instructing Tipu and Purania not too much to rely because of the French. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
So some say it's a concoction of the French because on one hand, the British records say he left a will saying don't trust the French. The French say all this. This was actually Michaud, one of the French historians who quotes this letter. So authenticity is not there, but the father-son dynamic was fraught with so much of
for all these
uncertainty.
Western powers who turn around and say don't bring your ethnic conflicts to our country. Yeah. They brought their ethnic conflicts to our country. Right?
Entirely.
Yeah. So this is a proof of that also. There's one little proof, but their proof that we still don't know which is the write a letter, whether
or
the one that
there was one at all.
if there was one at all, whether the one the French wrote or the Brits.
I forget the will. Certainly, what the British found in his palace after Tipu died was a agreement that he signed for his father,
Huh.
which had about 8 articles, which said if I am found stealing something, then I can be flogged. If I am found, doing idle talk, then some other punishment.
Yeah.
From petty crimes to also, insurrection against the Sarkar. So that means he just didn't trust his son at all.
That sounded a little bit like my era, well, not my dad, but, in those write 100 words on
imposition.
if you pull the pigtails of your sister, now write 100 words on what you will not do to your sister, how you will not harm her. Next time you will learn the 8 times table. Not make, it sounds like that.
Yeah,
It sounds very credible sometimes.
I know. And in the middle of the war, when he was 21 years old, not a child, the battle of Chinkurli against the Marathas, in the middle of the battle, this guy says something intemperate, Tipu, and the father snatches a cane from someone and whacks him on his posterior, so hard. And Tipu is in front of everyone, and that is an insult. So he loses his school. He throws a 20-year-old man. So he throws his turban and dashes his sword and said, "To hell with you and your war. I'm not going to participate in it anymore." That also, the psychoanalysis that the person helped me with. If you see, most of the dictators, they had a very terrible father. They were father wounds, corporal punishments that the father gave. Somewhere instill that sense of, you're wounded yourself as a child, and you don't brook any kind of, dissent, any mistake anyone else does is meted out the worst of punishments. So somewhere this cruelty that Tipu was wantonly cruel, no doubt about that. So that cruelty probably came from these father wounds, because the father never, there were occasions where he did very well in the battle, the first Anglo-Mysore War, the second Anglo-Mysore War. He would feel very happy, even when that, he says, "To hell with you," and goes away. Later, he's found missing, for several days. And Hyder then goes back to Srirangapatna. He's crying at the mausoleum of his, one of the saints there, and says, God gave him and God has taken him back, and so on. And when he comes back, he's so overjoyed. Obviously, that love for the son is there. But at the same time, I think he didn't think too highly of his tact and wisdom. And so he would always keep comparing him to others. There was a Sheikh Ayaz who was a convert from Malabar. He almost thought that he's a better successor. We'll divide the kingdom between Tipu, Sheikh Ayaz and Karim. And Karim was born of a lot of mental infirmity and so on. So he was really not the king material at all, not even a commander material. And there was another guy called Muhammad Ali, whom he had almost adopted as his son. So I look at this young boy who's growing up, first of all, having a bigotry sown in his mind quite early in life.
By the tutor.
A very, very controlling mother who can give shivers to a otherwise despotic father. And probably that frustration the father is showing out on the son through all these punishments, and constantly comparing him to others, saying,
Sharma ji ka
beta. So what will he grow up to become? So one becomes a Tipu Sultan.